Welcome to my allotment, which is 5 minutes bike ride from my flat in Stockholm. I've been having this place since October last year, and I've been fortunate to be able to spend quite a lot of time around here. And it is a really nice setup that we will be going through in this video, which is my full tour and guide of how I will be using this place for some form of permanent living now during the spring and summer months. So if you're into this kind of stuff, then stay tuned, and there will be a lot of off-grid cabin content coming up on this channel. What I enjoyed the most with this is the fact that it's kind of by itself. There's a little path going over here that sometimes people pass, but then this part is blocking off, and then there are some neighbors over there, but you can't really see it, and those neighbors are not really here very often either. So it's like proper privacy around here. You feel really secluded for being this close to the city that this actually is. And with that said, you can probably also hear a little bit of the road, because there is one really large road nearby, and depending on the traffic situation you hear that road more or less, but you get kind of used to it, and it get mixed up with the birds chirping everywhere, and yeah, it's kind of like nature and city doing its thing together, which is quite nice. But that thing with nature is what I have to say is the other major pro with having this place. There are birds everywhere. There are so many different kinds of trees. I think we counted to 11 different kinds of trees just when looking around here. There are squirrels jumping in the trees. There are insects, spiders, bugs of all different kinds everywhere. Plenty of different flowers. And you just feel really connected to nature when you're here. Yeah, as you can see, that's some of the wildlife that is around here. I was just attacked by the most giant bug I have ever seen. Oh my god, look at that. What? I don't know what it is. Mildly scary, actually. Love to get that on film. I figured that I would first give you a quick overview of how some practical things work. Water, power, cooking, toilet, shower, and dishwashing. So water is actually the one thing that is kind of on grid here, because there is water from the municipality for the warmer season of the year. The water is just next to the hut like this, so it's not connected into the hut, but of course you can connect a hose to it and get it, for example, over to the dishwashing station over there. But this is a really well working system. The water is on between roughly April and October. I'm using an Ecoflow River 2 for power, and I plug my computer, phone, plug in a lamp to it. I can also plug into Ecoflow 110 watt solar cell and place that out in the garden and charge the Ecoflow battery pack up relatively quickly. So it's a way to be self-sufficient with power and to be able to work from here with a pretty sufficient power setup. I have bought a Primus kitchen with 2 stovetops, and this is a really nice kitchen because it both connects to these guys, the 450 gram bottles, 1 pound bottles of gas, but also you can connect it to a larger bottle. So basically this head comes off, you replace it with a connection to a large PC5 or PC10 bottle, and then you can cook, well, pretty much for a full season without having to change gas bottle. And this is my coffee making device of choice. And the nice thing with this kitchen is that it runs on really low temperatures as well. It's one of the things that I didn't realize could be a problem is you want to run on pretty low temperatures sometimes, like when you boil your water and you just want to simmer something. the most important thing is not how high temperature the kitchen can go, but how low it can go. And this kitchen is really doing a good job with that. So sometimes I'm cooking outside, and sometimes I'm cooking inside in the kitchen if the weather is not permitting. I was just cooking up the dinner on this little stove. This salmon pasta, ready to eat. Farid is here. Dishes put away on the side. Fancy dinner at the cottage. Around here there's only dry toilets available, and the dry toilet is a short walk, a few seconds away up here. It is a pretty well working system, and I'm used to it from living in the countryside when I was a kid and going to my cousin's cottage on the countryside and stuff like that. So I don't see it as much of a problem. It's a pretty well working solution. However, there are some times when the toilet setup is maybe not ideal. When the weather is like this, raining like crazy, it's in the middle of the night, I'm gonna go to bed, but I have to go to the toilet first. So I need to run in the dark and in the crazy rain. There is no shower around here, but there is one big pro, which is that the lake is really nearby. So it's the simplest way to wash yourself is just go down and have a swim in the lake. And the dishwashing station is right here on the corner of the hut, close to the water, so you can easily refill. And then it's of course most of the time just cold water dishing with dishwashing liquid, but it works really well. It's generally no problem to wash anything up with this setup. Let's do the full guided tour of the place. This is the entrance, and when you walk in here, actually all of this stuff to the left here is part of the garden plot. So it's not really being utilized, but I kind of like having it like this in a very natural state. Then walk up these stairs and you come up towards the cottage and the garden space. So as you can see now, I'm charging up the Ecoflow River 2, and I set up this little space for reading or writing or having coffee, which is in the sun, because parts of this here, for example the patio, is usually in the shade. In the garden space here, there is also a little earth cellar. I'm not using it a ton right now, but in the warmer summer months, it feels like a really good way to be able to keep stuff cold, since there's no opportunity to have a fridge out here. If we stick to the garden, then one of the main perks here is that there are these little stairs that go up on this hill that is just behind the garden plot. And up here is just one of the most beautiful spots of the whole place. So you can sit here and have dinner, just place a table up here, have a beer, coffee, meditate or read a book. It's perfect. So from up here you can also get a proper overview of the allotment. So this is the full setup pretty much. And let's get down and explore a little bit more. When you come down here, you come straight down to the patio. I use this fence here to lock up my bike so that I can have it near the cottage. And I have this rocking chair, the 2 tables with a nice tablecloth, prepped some breakfast there. This is where I put the outdoor kitchen when I'm cooking outdoors. And then I have one of the main perks here, which is the hammock setup. So these are super sturdy and perfect to hang a hammock off of, and I love hammock living. So this is one of the things that I have appreciated the most. Just lying in the hammock with a few pillows, reading a book is just an amazing perk of being here. There are plenty of mosquitoes, especially evening time here. So of course, to combat that, I have an alternative hammock setup with a built-in mosquito net. And with this ridge line, it actually gives a lot of space. So I'm in the hammock now editing the video that you are currently watching and having a pretty relaxed, great time here. If we continue moving inside, this is the stuff that I put the most work into with this cottage. So when I got it, it wasn't very nicely furnished, and I've been putting a lot of work into making this a feasible setup to be able to live here. Starting off, we have this little hallway setup with some hangers, which work really well actually. Hangers and a small little space for shoes there. It's tiny, but it's doing its job for sure. We have one of the windows, and then we have a kitchen table that folds out to become twice the size of that. And I have been using it for a family dinner. We moved it out to the patio and had the dinner out there, which worked really, really well. All the plants you can see are plastic plants, because when I leave from here, I have to shut the place off so that it's dark. So it's not really feasible, unfortunately, to have proper plants. They have to be outside in that case. The kitchen setup, as you can see here, with a 2-stove burner, some storage units, some storage that is open. I have a trash can down there, and then there's tons of storage for food. Like, I'm far from being able to fill this stuff up now. Another storage for food. And then in here you have all the pots, pans, utensils. It's pretty much all set up. Like, it's a fully equipped kitchen, more or less. There might be some details to fix further down the line, but most of it is perfectly set up. This stuff is all stuff that I got donated when I moved in here. So I'm really appreciating that I was able to get such a nice setup of kitchenware just from donations from some of the other people in the society. If we move further in here, we come to the main living area. So here, as you can see, I have my work setup with a desk that also comes with storage. The desk space comes out, and I just have a little stool. And this, when the weather is not nice, this is a perfect place to work. But when the weather is nice, I really prefer sitting out on the patio and working from there. One other thing that I was placing a lot of emphasis here was the art wall. And this art wall I have designed with pieces from friends. So it's either friends' designs or it's gifts from friends. But most of it is friends that have designed. And actually, one of them I have painted myself. So you can take a guess for which one that is. This window, when you look out from here, you can have a little peek of the lake down there. When the leaves are not on, then of course there's more lake view available. But otherwise, in general, there is not much lake view from the windows here. You have this window, but you cannot see the lake from there. In this window, we also have a light setup. So when it's dark in here, this plugs into the Ecoflow and lights up the place really nicely, actually. It works really well. The next section here is an important one. It's my meditation section. So here I have been spending a lot of autumn and winter just sitting, like just practicing. And it's really peaceful and powerful to be here and have like one dedicated spot for meditation. So that was one of the things I really wanted to accomplish when I was designing this place. And moving a little bit more to the side here, we have the sleeping setup. And this is one of these IKEA day beds. So it's really nice because it works both as a sofa with a bunch of cushions, as you can see here. It has storage, and it's quite large storage spots here. So if this comes out, I store the solar panel here, and there is a topper. This comes out to twice the size, and then you can just put a topper on it. So in that case, you can comfortably sleep 2 people. And I normally don't fold it out. I keep it in this state. But totally, it's possible to sleep more than one here. I'm getting ready to go to bed here. And it is really incredibly cozy to go to bed when it's raining outside and you hear it very much, the raindrops hitting the roof. Looking forward to another night here in the little cottage. I just woke up and slept incredibly well this night, actually. Yeah, it's silent. It's the perfect temperature. You heard the rain hitting the roof, which is super calming. Woke up to a few birds chirping, but not too intense. And it's time for the morning meditation in my little meditation corner down next to the bed there. At first I was a little bit hesitant about the fact that it's very blocked off between the kitchen and the living room setup. But the more I've been spending time here, the more I got used to it and kind of like the fact that despite the place being really small, it's kind of separated into two real rooms. So I think I'm gonna keep it this way, at least for now. If I need to heat the place up, which is not the case right now in summer, but I have this Mr. Heater body. So this is the portable body by Mr. Heater. And I think I'm gonna make a review of this guy at some point. But for now, I will just say that this has been working really well, but it is plugging in with the 450 gram canisters. And I also have an adapter so I can use it with a larger gas container, like the PC5 or PC10. And I really think I should do that because it burns a lot of that gas. So in terms of like choosing to put the gas containers in there or choosing to put them in here, you get a lot more value for money, I feel like, when you use them in the kitchen over when you use them in the heater. How is the storage situation in here? I will say that it is very ample with the open storage up here, the closed storage down here, which I can barely fill up. I also have this storage unit, which I might be getting rid of at some point because I don't like it that much, or I might redesign it actually. Then I have this, which comes with storage, which I will mainly be using for clothes storage. I got this unit, which has open storage as well as some closed off storage. I have the bed, which has the storage times 2 down here, and I can store some really big items there, which is really nice. And on top of that, if it's not enough with all of this storage, then there is a little storage out here in the garden. So this guy has room for some larger items. For example, there's a hose, some extra garden stuff, and there's even a wheelbarrow in here. So if you want to take leaves away or do other forms of cleaning and garden work, there's plenty of opportunity. And as you can see, this one is far from full, so I can definitely get some more, little bit larger items and keep them in here if necessary. The system with allotments is super nice. It's probably a thing in more countries, but here in Sweden, it's a kind of system that from the beginning was put into place so that you shouldn't have to have tons of money to be able to get a recreational place like a summer house. And therefore the municipalities were renting out space, like garden space or forest space where huts could be built, and then that was a lower cost way of being able to buy something. So the basic concept then is that you rent the plot, like you rent the garden, but then you buy the house, you buy the cottage, and therefore since you don't buy the land, it becomes a lot cheaper. But what happened then was that the allotments became incredibly popular, and in some municipalities where they have allowed market price for allotments are incredibly expensive. So for example, in Gothenburg, you can pay somewhere between 100 and 200,000 euros for a nice allotment. So that's not really feasible still. It became something that it wasn't supposed to be from the beginning. That's quite different in Stockholm, because the system they set up here is that you have to put yourself in line for the part that you want to buy your allotment in. So in this case, this is one place where there's 55 allotments, 55 cottages, and I have been in line for around 5 years when I was invited to buy this one, which is one of the cottages in this area that I was most keen to get. So then I was able to buy it, and the price is really affordable, so it's kind of the only way that I would be able to afford buying a summer house. Price was roughly 16,000 euros for it. Then there is a yearly fee, which is paying for the land and for water and fee to the allotment society, but that fee is very small, almost negligible. So it's a very affordable setup all in all. That is it for the tour and setup guide of my allotment and my off-grid cabin. I'm very happy that you stuck around for so long. I know it's a long video, but I wanted to cover pretty much all the bits and bobs that are around here in the area. If you like this kind of video, then please subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one. Have a nice day. Bye bye.